You got Austin and Mamadi back tonight. They both made some plays. What will having them allow you to do in the front court that you might not be able to otherwise?
Well, I hope just playing harder for longer. Each of those players brings something different. You saw the athleticism of Mamadi blocking some shots, made the nice baseline move with the dunk. Nice move by Austin. You know, Jared and Jack and Isaiah. So that's 5 guys for basically 2 spots, which is challenging, but depends how the officials are calling it, the matchups, what you need. But I want them to be able to play real hard continuously. There's no reason for a group with that kind of depth to not play hard, real hard, and be real active. So that'll be important. Same on the perimeter.
Yeah, last year you were like middle of the pack, 3-point percentage defense in the league. Tonight you kind of smothered them, you made them take those shots. I know it's the nature of your defense, but is that something that you've liked about your guys to this point this year?
Yeah, I think the competition is a little different when you're going in against the ACC and that. But what I like is how we're scrambling and we're trying to contest shots. I think this team understands, you know, we're going to have to be so good defensively, and that's going to be our ticket. And we say that's mandatory for us. We know for us to be our best, we have to be so good and play in a way that's hard to play. But it's always voluntary or optional every game and every chance you come to play. We know what we have to do, but will we do it? And that's on us as coaches when we practice, and it's on the players to put that kind of effort forth. But for the most part, because they got quick little guards and they can jump up and shoot the 3. And I thought we struggled a little bit offensively early, and our defense held us in there. But 3-point percentage defense will be important moving forward.
Do you anticipate this happening a lot this year with the scoring spread out the way it is?
I think we have to be probably more balanced. I mean, certainly certain guys can get hot and you work with them, but I think it's evenly. Yeah, I think so. You know, London was cold early. He's capable of certainly putting up big numbers, and Mariel can score. We'll see with Austin how it goes as far as scoring, but I think it's more of a balanced scoring team, and I think I like that. It is nice to have guys, when you need a bucket that can go get one, but so far the way it's played out in our scrimmages, Spain isn't really a great indicator, but it was pretty balanced that way. So I think that's sometimes harder to prepare for sure.
You had the last chunk of both halves completely shut them out, I think, for field goals at least. How much of that, like you said, it's different in ACC play, but did you see any progress on defense tonight, and did anybody stand out? Mario was pretty good.
Yeah, I just think we want every possession to be a battle for the other team, and so far they've embraced that. Where we give them nothing easy. Couple transition buckets, we weren't alert, but early we got lift faked a couple times. That guy was a pump fake, and they got in the lane. But for the most part, even though they were spread out, they didn't get into our paint, and all of the outside shots were contested. A couple of those they hit. Like I said, you take your hat off. But I think that was important, and we'll find out as we get going here. Yale, we play next. They really took it to Washington, and they were up 15 at the half and sort of carried it through. In a team that is got some different guys, but won in the NCAA tournament and smart and tough and sound. So it'll be a good indication, I think, in a improvement in competition. It appears this next game, and no disrespect to Greensboro or St. Francis. So we'll see where we're at.
In years past, you've kind of tinkered with the lineups early on in the season and kind of cut back on the depth a little bit. Is this a season where you see yourself extending that bench even more just because of the amount of depth you have and just the...
Yeah, that's a hard one. We played 11 in the first half. I think the game will dictate that. That's hard to play that many guys. But, if there's not a lot of separation, perhaps we can. I think it'll vary. Some games will be a tighter rotation, and some games, like I said, when we have opportunities to do that, because you can play hard. That's the one thing. You can keep bringing reinforcements and playing hard, but I think it remains to be seen that way. I think we're still going to figure out as we get against improved competition, which is certainly coming, we'll get a feel for that.
Mamadi did not compete in the games last year, obviously. How far has he come in his year and a half, I guess it's been since he first
He's
got here?
improved. He's gotten stronger. I still think the game's new to him, and he's still thinking a little bit. I think in time he's just going to get better and better because he's been blessed with the quick twitch, the jumping and the athleticism. And I think that the more experience, that's why I kept he and Austin in at the end, but just the more experience he can get, the better, because he, as I mentioned, there's some rim protection with him and Austin and Jack, and I think those are some good things. But the more experience from Mamadi, the better. Definitely has made steps, and I think we're just scratching the surface with him.
Austin, you're only guy in double figures, and he had a couple there where he was standing right under the basket, and Darius and London seemed to like having some guy in there that they can just kind of lob the ball to. Is that going to be a big part of his game, and is it nice to see him double figures tonight?
Austin has really good hands, and he certainly can score in the post, and so I think you want to establish, notice we were 0 of 10 from 3. We didn't hit a 3, and you have to establish some kind of inside game, whether you're driving and touching the paint and making plays or being able to throw it inside, and then, of course, trying to get to the free throw line. So he's shown that in practice, his ability when he catches it to turn and face. And they were scrappy, and they were fronting the post more, so we just took advantage of that in the second half a little more with some high lows. But he is a good, 12 and 15 feet and in guy, Austin, to make some plays, and I think the guys do look for him.
You talked a little bit after Greensboro about Mariel kind of riding the momentum the end of last year into this year. What did you challenge him with this offseason? It seems a little more confidence out there. He was able to create his own shot a couple times tonight. What have you liked about his play to this point?
He's always been able to do that. He's real good off the dribble. He likes to kind of lull guys to sleep and rise up. We just said get better in every area. Tighten your handles, improve your shot, go to work on your shot, get as athletic as you can, become a defensive stopper type mentality. We have to have that with the guys we'll play against on the perimeter. I challenge, Devin and Mariel that, and really all the guys, but he has the length and he's wired right to do that. And again, he's an upperclassman, so I see that with, all the upperclassmen for the most part. They've taken steps in their game, and Mariel's, again, I mentioned it after the Greensboro game. I could start a number of different guys, but he's given us a nice spark both games off the bench, and I think that will be important moving forward, however it goes.
Obviously, Austin had the one-game suspension. Were you pleased with the way he's responded to that? You've had some suspensions in the past and seemed that it's had a positive effect.
Yeah, I just, I think he worked hard, and this was a good step. I was excited for him. Of course, Mamadi, too, to get out there. And again, the experiences are invaluable. So there's great competition on this team for opportunities to play. And so I think that's a strength of ours this year and a challenge with the rotation and things like that. But I thought it was a good first game, and I was so pleased. First basket for Justice Bartley, our walk-on. That was always exciting, and the guys were real happy about that. And you saw some of the young guys. Kyle got going off some screens, some nice plays by Ty. And we talked about Mamadi. So just a good overall opportunity for most of the guys.